The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were probably the biggest fictional characters of the late 80s and early 90s, maybe second to Sonic and Mario, of course. Their popularity prowess is undeniable, with movies, comic books, and cartoons, to name a few. Now, I did have the toys growing up, or at least a few of them anyway. I did watch the movies, but games I never really got into, purely because I was born just a few years after the Super Nintendo came out. So during my years of collecting, and now that I'm a little bit older, I can have a look back and see what I missed out on. So today, we're taking a look at Turtles in Time. Hey everybody, Eric here from Retro Game Remix, a passion project dedicated to breathing new life into your favorite classic video games by music covers and reviews. Now, admittedly, it's been a very long time since I've done reviews, so I'm excited to get back into it today by having a look at Turtles in Time. Now, I've never played this game until this review, so I'm able to have a fresh look at it with a fresh set of eyes, not blinded by any nostalgia goggles, of course. Now, when you look online, this game is revered as one of, if not the best, retro beat-em-up of all time. So, let's have a look.
The story starts in the first stage, Big Apple, 3 a.m., walking on a high-hanging wireframe while dodging cannonballs and confronting Baxter Stockman as a fly. Stage 2 giving me the Alley Cat blues with these robots that just won't die, mingling with Metalhead at the end. And down into the sewers, surfing with foot soldiers and pizza monsters, which kind of remind me of a certain alien. And then on your quest to Shredder's Technodrome, fighting foot soldiers and other robot baddies along the way, with 3 bosses here, so be prepared. Only until you finally get to Shredder and throw a ton of baddies at him. Super cool effect, by the way. Does the title actually make sense? Shredder sends you through an interdimensional time warp, which is cool because it kind of reminds me of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, the movie, which came out a few years after this game, perhaps even inspired by this story here.
I did love those movies as a kid. Can't get much better than that. Although this game is probably a heck of a lot better off without Vanilla Ice.
Turtles in Time features Mike, Don, Raph, and Leo. All of the 4 turtles have different weapons with varying movesets that the player can take control of. Each turtle has a standard Y attack and a jump with the B button, and a combo attack while pressing Y and B at the same time, with varying ranges and uses. Mike knocks baddies around with his nunchucks and lunges forward as a combo. Don strikes with his staff and again lunges forward as a combo attack. Raph slices with his ninja sais or knives and a combo attack, which is a forceful kick. And Leo slashes with his double swords and his combo spin attack. You can also do high jump kicks and downward strikes by pressing down on the D-pad to give yourself an aerial advantage, which is especially useful if you're trying to conserve as much health as possible to take on the boss of each level. Your other moves are dash attacks, enemy throws, and occasionally a side-to-side grab and smash.
Now, in my playthroughs, I found Leo to be the overall better character to use for me anyway. Not only with his precise sword strikes, but the combo slash attack that is really good for any situation. He's just really great for my playing style. But there are noticeable differences between each turtle. For example, Raph seems to be a little bit more fast with his strikes, and Don seems to be a little bit more slower with high defense. It's really cool to spot the differences to adapt to your playing style. Though the game isn't necessarily a button masher though, so don't go playing it as such. I mean, you can, but tread lightly.
The combat is varying in difficulty from easy encounters to frustrating fisticuffs. And for me, only playing through single player, it can be incredibly difficult at times, wishing you had player 2 to help lighten the load. I especially found some of the robot enemies more difficult to take down. They just didn't seem to take the hint. And look, if you're trying to spare as much health as possible before the inevitable boss battles at the end, good luck. I do, however, enjoy the in-game help you get along the way, such as health recovery pizzas, or the bomb box, which is like a super attack that only lasts a few seconds. Usually the game gives these to you in the best possible time, as you can expect either a barrage of enemies or some bulky bad dudes to stand in your way just as soon as you grab them. I found myself sometimes sprinting across the screen as fast as I could because I desperately needed that sweet, sweet pizza time. Anyway, after taking on Shredder in the Technodrome and being sent back in time, you fight your way through time starting in the prehistoric age, dodging dinosaurs and foot soldiers. Wait, how did they get here? Taking on Slasher will transport you to Skull and Crossbones, a pirate ship level. Now here, the game introduces a new set of enemies, these bulky-looking bad dudes with helmets. Watch out because they take more than a few hits to knock down, and eventually you'll encounter the classic comic relief duo of Bebop and Rocksteady, who end up doing themselves in with a duel only worthy of walking the plank. Now this was probably my least favorite level, with the music being really the only downside here. Not bad, but obviously not the best track in the game. From here, you'll be sent to Bury My Shell at Wounded Knee, which is a train-like level. Almost reminds me of Sunset Riders. The thing I like about Turtles in Time are the varied stage hazards, from cannonballs to stalactites or whatever they're called, and even now in the train level, the barrels that roll your way, which are kind of easy to dodge, but kind of not. It's fun variety that helps shape the level and make it unique in its own way. And at the end here, you'll find Leatherhead, and he's quite a pushover as well. Like, it's not very difficult. He does take a lot of hits, but he's quite easy to manage. Now, speaking of pushover bosses, let's address the two bonus level bosses. First, in Sewer Surfin's Rat King, who vows to take over the world. 10 seconds later, with a flurry of fists, he's down for the count. It's super easy just to surf right in front of him and knock him away, and down he goes. And the second bonus level is Neon Knight Riders. Using the Super Nintendo's renowned Mode 7 graphic capabilities, the stage looks straight out of F-Zero, and I really enjoyed this one, hoverboarding through a futuresque 2020.
Sadly, this was not the version of 2020 that we ended up with. Still waiting for the DLC to patch that one out.
Anyway, Super Krang was no trouble at all, literally. Next, to boldly go where no turtle has gone before. Starbase. Out of all the levels in the game, you can really feel the pressure here, as enemies are not only varied by a lot, but the stage hazards can get you good if you're not quick. Now, eventually you'll have another fight with Krang, which again seemed like another pushover as the final normal stage boss. Really no match for the turtles here. Lastly is Shredder. He's pretty tough with high health and what seems like a lot of defensive power, but finding the right moment to strike, and he's no better than shredded cheese. Congrats! You win. The bosses of each level offer a great level of challenge. It's important not to just button smash, but through trial and error in my case, devise a strategy that's patient. Bosses have their own patterns, so learning when the right moment to strike and with what attack. For example, the first boss is mostly aerial in some situations with small on-foot portions, meaning you need to prioritize jump attacks and give him the old fists or swords or nunchucks or spear or knives of fury. In the cool mechanics of the first Shredder boss fight, not actually fighting him directly, but throwing foot soldiers towards the screen to inflict damage, which, as I said earlier, is a really cool and unique effect. It definitely helps add an extra depth of field element to a 16-bit game, something I'm sure at the time was a very standout feature, and to me, it still is.
The visuals are straight out of the cartoons, literally.
Well, I mean, you have two options to choose from as far as aesthetics go. Animation looking straight out of the Turtles cartoons we all know and love, with all four Turtles' skin being a bright green with vibrant headbands. The other option is comic, closely resembling the original debut of the Turtles in the late 80s.
I personally prefer the animation option because that's what I grew up with, but it really has no effect on gameplay. Well, maybe it does, I guess, if you personify more with a particular version of each particular turtle in a particular stage in a particular outfit. Whatever you find most aesthetically pleasing. I don't know. I don't care.
The music has that typical hard-rockin', pizza-eating, shredder butt-kicking vibe that you'd expect from a couple of Ninja Turtles on Super Nintendo. Mostly every song is catchy, upbeat, and keeps you wanting more. There wasn't a single song that either faded into the background because it was too dull or I found too grating on my ear. Maybe aside from Skull and Crossbones, but let's take a listen at what the music in the game actually sounds like. It really is the right balance of catchy melodies combined with fantastic sound effects that you can only find on a Super Nintendo game.
Overall, Turtles in Time is a fantastic, fun, but frustrating adventure. Now, rightfully so. It is right on the mark in terms of difficulty and playability. Now, not only is it visually appealing, but it's also sonically pleasing with all of the bells and whistles that you would expect from a 16-bit game, let alone a beat-em-up. I think Turtles in Time offers a lot of replay value, though the game itself kind of clocks in under just an hour depending on how good you are getting through all the stages. Like I said, it's quite difficult with only one player. It is the perfect pick up and play or party pleaser game with all the turtles that you can play as and their respective fighting styles, as well as the different stages that you can explore. Now, if you are a bit cheeky with 2 controllers, you can get yourself a couple extra lives. Believe me, you're going to need them. If you get the chance to play this game, you'll join the pantheon of players that says, this is an instant classic. Well, actually, no, it would have been an instant classic. I mean, the game's like almost 30 years old. Well, it is 30 years old. Well, you get the idea. It was an instant classic then, it's a classic now. Go play it. It's great.